There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency.
I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this.
And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness, because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer. Right or wrong, raping children?
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens?
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States?
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness. Our witness, who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. And then we also have this objection that we use as lawyers called non-responsive, when a witness fails to actually answer the question. But nevertheless, let me address the survivors, because that's exactly who they are. They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice. We are currently the laughing stock of the world, partially because of the failed leadership within the DOJ, as we see kings and queens falling everywhere around the world. But we don't know the basics of right and wrong in this country, because it's not about partisanship. And that's why I applaud Thomas Massie, because he's the only person on the Republican side that has a backbone and knows how to stand up to corruption. But nevertheless, let me keep going. My Democratic colleagues have been attacked this entire committee hearing. They have been lied on, and frankly, the American people weren't looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration. In the written testimony of this witness, of this particular witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ, because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested, we know that there were homes of journalists that were raided. We know that threatened prosecution against students protesting your actions and forced tech companies to remove apps used to track ISIS activities. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter, so let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number 2, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, "this is a good one." Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history. An attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Here we go again. Today we have another episode of Common Sense with Van Silk. I'd like to say how you're feeling out there, how you're doing out there, hoping you'll have a blessed day. You can follow me on Rumble.com, YouTube, and TikTok. Just type in Common Sense with Van Silk. Oh boy, but everything's going on with the Department of Justice and the Epstein files and everything. They were able to get Pam Bondi to testify, ask her questions. And this woman here, one of the most nastiest women that I ever seen or heard in my life. Her mouth is just nasty. She's very disrespectful, and all the stuff that she's doing and not investigating and talking to these young girls, or young ladies now that were girls, with this whole Epstein pedophilia, whatever you want to call it. She is supposed to be standalone. Department of Justice is supposed to be not taking orders from nobody. You're supposed to run this department just like you said when you was being questioned by Congress on how you can perform your duties. Listen, like everything you're doing is only being done because you're being told what to do and what not to put out, what to say. And come to find out that now y'all been spying on the Democrats. They seen the paper you had in your hand, that y'all evidently got the power to track what they be looking up on the internet. Because I always notice every time somebody questions her, she go into this notebook and she pull out stuff about these people and always have nothing positive to say unless you're questioned by the Republicans. But this lady right here, boy, she's the epitome of what did I do? It's not my fault. She always bringing up Joe Biden this and this person that and this and this. You've been the Attorney General for 18 years in Florida. This whole Epstein stuff was happening right underneath your nose, and you didn't do nothing then about it. Only thing you did was went after Trump with the Trump University. He gave you some money to your campaign, and you dropped the case. I want you to check out some more of these videos by the Department of Justice head, Pam Bondi. These are her testimonies, and just the way she responded is scary. She'll be the first one to snitch when things go wrong because she has no immunity. And we'll see what she's going to say and do then. This is Vance with Common Sense. I'll be right back.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Do the right thing, Attorney General. Meet with the survivors. They have been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors. Do the right thing. I yield back.
I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that. Didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was
Weak sauce.
And also, I want the record to reflect that, you know, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
He is Jewish. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust? Really?
The committee will be in order.
Attorney General Bondi, glad you finally made it here after hiding for 4 months from this committee. I understand why you're hiding from us.
Chairman?
You're one of the worst attorney generals in our history and an instrument of Donald Trump's lawless authoritarian agenda, and I'm glad the American people are seeing who you are, how you act, and the lack of good values. You weaponize the Department of Justice to target immigrants, working families, and anyone that Trump deems an enemy of the state, all to protect real powerful criminals, including in your administration. My Democratic colleagues have focused on your cover-up of the Epstein files and your passion for protecting pedophiles and child traffickers. That alone is grounds for impeachment. But there's so much more to your corrupt tenure as Attorney General.
You apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer.
Time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she
question.
ask Merrick Garland this?
I am
Twice
reclaiming
when he
my
sat in my
time, and
chair.
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the
my
gentlelady's
I'm
reclaimed her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only to then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up, and I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level apologize
now recognizes the chair
on what you have done.
The time of the gentlelady expired. The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back. We appreciate that. We appreciate.
You have to watch Pam Bondi's staffer's reaction.
President Trump, the greatest president in American history, and if they could maintain their composure, this isn't. We should be talking about what does the Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
Oversight.
Excuse me. You can attack me after my time is over.
You've attacked all of us, including President Trump, for your entire career.
You can attack me later, and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all day to day.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed to be...
No one needs a canned attack on you.
Regular order, Madam Chair. I'm trying to speak. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing of the Justice Department.
I mean, there's that. There's a lot of great questions yesterday. Absolutely, someone correct me, zero answers. Zero.
She was speaking to an audience of one. Donald Trump. And she had a very successful day in doing that, I would submit.
In fact, that's the only reason, Mike, that she goes up there. I'm convinced that at some point, these cabinet folks are going to stop going to Capitol Hill to testify unless Trump wants them to keep doing it, because she's not having a good time up there. And you're totally right. The only reason they do go is to launch the counterattack, because Trump does watch those clips later and judges them by how hard they attacked.
And that's what they all do. Hegseth has done it, Bobby Kennedy Jr. has done it, and now Attorney General Bondi did it yesterday. It's worth reminding everyone in this moment in our nation's history that the Justice Department is supposed to be independent from the executive branch. It's not an arm of the Oval Office. It's not a tool of the White House. But all we saw yesterday, Jonathan Lemire, was an Attorney General who truly would receive a question, look down at her notes based on who the senator was, and launch back with some totally unrelated attack. That's all she was doing there, not answering questions in an oversight hearing.
No, it's long been a concern of Democrats that the Attorney General acts like the personal lawyer of the President of the United States. Yesterday, the Attorney General seemed to embrace that title and acted like she was the personal lawyer for the President of the United States. I mean, you just went through it. Every single line, canned attack lines, as Senator Schiff said, and just spinning it back. Answered no questions whatsoever, even plain ones, deferring to the FBI director, Kash Patel, about the Tom Homan situation. Well, she's Kash Patel's boss. Yeah. Like, she, of course, has been briefed on this. She, of course, knows the answer in this. She was obstinate, and she didn't want to answer any questions, and leaving a lot, obviously, for Democrats to work with there. But it's also just such a depressing spectacle for all of us. I mean, I think, look,
deflating.
I mean, Democrat senators did their jobs. No, I think they did their jobs. I mean, could there have been, we can all criticize whether how they deliver their questions or whether there should have been more charisma involved, but like, they did their job and asked pretty substantive questions. And I thought Senator Schiff did a good job outlining the things that she didn't answer. That was a good recap there at the end, and she was unfazed. She didn't participate in what is part of the job. And it's another sign that this presidency, the executive branch, does not think it has a co-equal branch with the legislature or the courts.
You're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there, and you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family and friends, but you published their names, their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked. This performance screams cover-up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy.
We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability, to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer. So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she
question.
ask Merrick Garland this?
I am
Twice
reclaiming
when he
my
sat in my
time, and
chair.
when I
will
reclaim
continue
my
to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady has reclaimed her
I'm not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say this.
I'll direct it to
what
you.
a massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is interrupted.
I'm not going to get in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing theatrics.
and let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only to then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up, and I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level,
Chairman,
apologize
The chair now recognizes the chair.
on what you have done.
The time of the gentlelady
yield
expired.
back.
The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back.
Theatrics.
We appreciate that. We appreciate the thought.
So y'all can see what we're dealing with right now. Pam Bondi, the head of the Department of Justice. You know, when you went in for your hearing and you was questioned by both sides, you said you will work independently from the White House. But it seems like you're taking orders, especially when it comes to this Epstein file. This file's been going on since the beginning of Barack Obama and Trump and Biden and everything. But you know what? There's a whole lot of things that need to be done in this country. You have to excuse me for a minute. Then was worrying about the distractions of something that was created by these people you're protecting. Sooner or later, it's all going to come out. But the sad part is that these young ladies who were young girls back then have not been interviewed by you. You have not took up the time to say, hey, as a woman, I need to sit up here and stand for the rights of women, for these women to have the time for us to interview them. But see, you don't want to interview these women because you already know you already know the answers. A lot of you Republicans are playing dumb, like you didn't know some of these girls are 9, 10, 11 years old. And a lot of you are lawyers. You mean to tell me that you don't know what everybody else knows? And see, this is the problem when you have somebody who wants to be a dictator. Everything that they're doing, you're not doing nothing to stop him, because none of y'all have backbones, or he has something on all of y'all, which is dangerous. And that's why you're not saying nothing. You're the same people from J.D. Vance to Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio. You're all called this man out when you was running against him, but now you're working for him. Can you believe that? But Pam Bondi has only one side. So I would just say, It's pure nastiness. Reckless. Her mouth is reckless. And everybody knows it. She never want to answer a question. She wants to have something else to offshoot the question. She wants to be a filibuster. Ooh, I'm going to just run their time out. But it's going to catch up with you. Because once everything changed, the midterm elections, and Jordan's not in charge to control certain things, and these guys is not able to protect y'all, there's going to be the yellow brick road. And y'all don't want the yellow brick road, because the yellow brick road, nothing's going to get done if the Democrats get the midterm election. So Trump will be a sitting duck for 2 years. And if y'all lose both the House and the Senate, y'all in trouble. Because a lot of y'all get impeached. Some of y'all will have to get fired. Otherwise, they're not going to put anything through. But I tell you what, Pam Bondi, this is my opinion as an American. You trump up false charges. You're going after everybody this man don't like. Don Lemon's going to have a great lawsuit against y'all. Y'all better save some of that money. Because at the end of the day, when you do wrong, it's going to hit you. It's going to come back. And you can't explain yourself out when you don't have nobody protecting you. Y'all living off the protection right now. Figuring, oh, we got 2.5 more years, or we're going to rig the election, or we're gonna have the military or the ICE agents in the blue states, and people gonna be scared to vote. You know, I haven't heard nothing about MS-13. They're supposed to have been so violent. The last time we heard anything about MS-13 was during the presidential race. All these so-called violent people, and somebody might have had a traffic violation, or somebody might have been arrested some years ago, and y'all want to sit up here and act like they should be deported. Well, there was just a father who killed his daughter down in Texas because they were arguing about Trump. Was he deported? I'd definitely like to know. But you know, we all have the atmosphere. You got people that knowing when you're wrong, they try to make it right. How can you be right when you know you're wrong? How do you sleep with yourself at night? How do you come out and speak to the American people? Because you're not doing nothing for the American people. There's a serious matter going on right now in sports. Sport betting. You're supposed to be on top of that. Because there's a lot of games right now rigged. Plays are fixing games. All sports. What are you doing for the American people? Not for one person, but for the American people. You think they're going to vote you back in Florida again? I doubt it, seriously. Just because you can't. That job is gone. So once you lose your job, what you going to do? You're going to be a civilian. Guess what? You have no immunity at all. You know, you are an original Karen. You don't want to say, as the head of the Department of Justice, you couldn't even look back at those young ladies yesterday when they raised their hands. You and Christy Nome, I don't know what Trump's seeing y'all, but you're definitely on low IQ. So you reading off papers, you want to chastise people, you want to put people down. I'm going to leave it up to y'all. Because these days, y'all are scared to talk. This is a free country, we could talk. Slanderous, defamation of character, everything this man wants to sue people for, he's the one who's done it all. Y'all can follow me on rumble.com, youtube.com, and TikTok. Common Sense with Van Silk. I'm out.
Attorney General Bondi, that man works for you now, right?
Who was that, Congressman?
The man in that video, the one who was in the police-worn body cam footage, the one allegedly yelling, "Kill him," at police officers on January 6th. His name is Jared Wise.
He does work for us.
He works for you at the Department of
he
Justice.
does. He does.
This is an individual whom a federal grand jury indicted for 2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors related to his participation in the attack on January 6th. One of those charges was forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with police with the intent to commit another felony. This is who you choose as the chief law enforcement officer of the United States of America to hire at the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling, "Kill him," at police officers, right?
I believe he was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for his offense. Pardoned for yelling, "Kill him," at police officers. And yet you expect hardworking police officers across the country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. You could imagine the reaction of so many folks across the country hearing the chief law enforcement officer of the United States refuse to even condemn what that individual whom you've now hired did. But in any event, let's talk a little bit about some of the other divisions within the Department of Justice and what's happened over the last year. You're familiar with the Public Integrity section of the DOJ's criminal division. I think it's referred to as PIN. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created?
I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under.
I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question.
You don't get to
Madam Attorney
reclaim
General.
your time.
Madam Attorney General.
Because I don't like
Mr. Chairman, will you explain to the witness that he does reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer a question to your satisfaction.
Mr. Chairman.
Madam Attorney General, the time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado.
The president under which PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate. I'm not asking a question, Madam Attorney General. The administration under which it was created was Gerald Ford. When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the criminal division today?
Can I answer the question about PIN?
I've asked you a question. How many people work?
You've asked me a question, but you don't
How
want
many
the answer.
people work
I'm not
for the
gonna answer your
National
questions the way you
Cryptocurrency
want.
Enforcement Team? You won't answer how many
I'll
people?
answer PIN.
You.
PIN will not be
you know
weaponized.
what? Actually, you know what?
What's
Madam
funny
Attorney
about
General,
this?
I'll say to the chairman.
What's funny about
Chairman,
this?
you know what? The answer is.
The most transparent administration in American history. Before Trump, we didn't know the word transparency, apparently. It's been 12 months since you gave Republican influencers part 1 of the Epstein files. You said the list was on your desk. Then a memo came out and said that there was no list. Phase 2 of the binders never happened. The President of the United States says the Epstein thing is a hoax. He blasts his own base for wanting the release of the files. He blamed Barack Obama. Republicans voted against the release of the files in the Rules Committee. Then they refused to even return to the Rules Committee until they could be protected from future votes on the release. Speaker Johnson sends Congress home a day early before break. They sent the Deputy Attorney General to meet with Maxwell. She says something favorable about the president. Miraculously, she gets transferred to a minimum security facility. No one can explain why. Miraculously, the leaks to the Wall Street Journal stop. We come back from break. We have the Massie discharge petition. Republicans drop a rule, a non-binding resolution trying to kill the Massie discharge petition. The White House says passing the Massie discharge petition is a hostile act. Trying to stop the necessary 218 signatures, according to Republican members that signed it, the White House brought them into the Situation Room, you know, the place where the president goes for time of war, promising things like appropriations or maybe even to primary them. People in the room say you were there. It didn't work. We get the 218 signatures. We eventually passed the Massie petition. You guys didn't release the files. You were forced by Congress, every member of the House except one, and the entire Senate. The reason the president signed it is because it was a veto-proof majority. We can't agree on anything, and yet the entire House but one member and the whole Senate forced the administration to release the files. Kash Patel under oath said to Senator Kennedy, the FBI is not in possession of any credible evidence that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone but himself. We know now that's not true. According to documents, Epstein had a worldwide sex trafficking ring. Girls from Poland, Czechoslovakia, Russia, Paris, modeling agencies sending him girls. He even had a relationship with a summer camp where he groomed girls at a picnic table. Ghislaine Maxwell says 29 Epstein associates cut secret DOJ deals. Turns out there is a list. 6 names readily available if you unredact them. Co-conspirators named, but we got them when you unredact them. Maxwell recently tells a House Oversight Committee that she wants clemency to release more names. Kash Patel under oath said Trump's name appears less than 100 times in the files. We now know that's not true. Trump's name appears more times in the Epstein files than God's name appears in the book about God. Okay, by the way, this is the Trump Bible. Move over, King James. Trump's name also appears more times in the Epstein file than Harry Potter's name appears in the 7 books about Harry Potter. Lutnick says that in 2008, he went to Epstein's home, says he had a massage table in the living room, that Epstein said he got one every day, that it was the right type of massage. He and his wife decide to leave and say they'll never be in a room with him again. Howard then says, I'm sure the Epstein stuff is all on video. He was the greatest blackmailer of all time. Well, how would Howard know that? But now the files are public, and in 2012, we found out that he and his family are on Epstein Island after Epstein pled guilty to state charges. I'm from Florida. I take my family to Disney World, not to Epstein Island. There are documents in the files that dispute the president's claim that he kicked Epstein out of his club. Allegedly, the president said that he asked Epstein to leave. Supported now, that's disputed, though, statements from the manager of the club. Now, Madam Attorney General, I have like 25 seconds left. So because I'm curious, and I'd like to see, flip to the Jared Moskowitz section of the binder. I'm interested to see what staff provided on the oppo on me, and because we're in the Olympics, I'm going to give it a grade. I just want to see how good it is. So give me your best one.
So first of all, nothing is funny about mocking the Bible and holding up a Trump Bible. That's what you did. You made a joke, and I find offense to that. That's all I have to say.
I want it from the burn book.
Shame.
I want it from the burn book, which is the best one. What you got?
Has expired. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
Excuse me, Madam Attorney General. Answer yes or no. Tell me what the numbers are. I don't want to hear all of your filibuster about this.
Attorney General Pam Bondi was brought out in front of the House Appropriations Subcommittee today to testify about the 2026 Justice Department budget request. And just like the other dull knives in Trump's cabinet, Bondi's answers to the Democratic representatives' questions wasn't quite cutting it. Inquiries into Bondi's past connection with Qatar, her suspicious stock trades, and other ethically dubious behavior led to an explosive series of clips here that I've compiled for you. Check it out.
Just a quick note before I get to my questions. Fentanyl seizures are down 30% compared to last year, and that data is coming from the Customs and Border Patrol, CBP. I don't make it up. But fentanyl seizures are down. At your confirmation hearing, you asserted that you will do everything in your power to prevent illegal gun runners in our country. Your budget request for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, proposes a cut of 26% below the current level. How can you justify such a massive cut without inevitably weakening ATF's ability to help our state and local law enforcement fight illegal gun trafficking? How many ATF law enforcement officers and industry operations investigators do you anticipate will be lost to attrition as a result of this funding reduction you're proposing?
So, I am a career prosecutor, and I believe in keeping America safe, making America safe. First, what we're doing is ATF is going to be brought over with DEA. Everyone knows, everyone sitting up here, guns and drugs go together. They go together. We're going to make it more efficient. What I will tell you will not be happening is ATF agents will not be knocking on the doors of legal gun owners in the middle of the night asking them about their guns. They're going to be out on the streets. If I can finish, they're going to be out on the streets.
I have three
No,
minutes.
You asked me a question.
I did. And
you asked me a question.
And you haven't answered my question.
So they're going to be out on the streets working
You haven't
hand in hand
answered my
with
question.
DEA
You
to
haven't
violate.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like an answer to my question. And the question is not being answered. How many ATF law enforcement officers and industry operations investigators do you anticipate will be lost to attrition as a result of the funding reduction you are proposing? You are proposing a 26% cut to ATF for fiscal year 2026, as well as a 4.4% cut to DEA. So you're going to merge the two agencies together, and then you're going to shortchange their resources, so neither one of them will be able to do the job that they have been designed.